I've received an excellent topology question from one of my patrons, so I had to make a video for you guys about this topic. He was trying to create a shape which looks like this one right here, but he ended up with topology that looks something like this. As you can see, the corners and the bevels look very weird, and you get some twisting and pinching on your geometry when you subdivide this and when you add smooth shading. If you look at this from the side, you're also going to see a lot of problems, and this is obviously not the right way to do it. So here's how you can correct this geometry to get a smoother result like the one that you can see right here, which looks a lot better. First of all, we have to get rid of all the bevels here and get a very simple shape for this. So with Alt right click, we're going to select all these edge loops around the corner. For example, these two on top here, then these edges down here around this corner, the edge loops around this inside corner over here. And once we have all those edges selected, we're going to press X, dissolve edges. Now this looks even worse, but we have to get rid of the subdivision surface modifier for a minute. And now we also have to take this edge here, slide it inwards with double G, slide this one inwards with double G as well, and do the same thing over here at the top. We also have some leftover vertices here on these edges. We're going to select all of those, and with double G we're going to slide them all the way up, and now we can select everything, M, merge by distance, and now we have a very simple shape which we can start working with. Now when you add a subdivision surface modifier to this, it becomes very round and smooth, but you want these edges to stay sharp. Probably you're used to adding loop cuts like this, or if you watch my videos you started beveling these edges to make them sharp, but you're going to quickly realize that while this does work on these sharp edges on the side here, it's not that easy to do on these inner edges over here. If we add loop cuts over here, sure, we tightened up this corner, but we also made the sides very sharp, and we don't want that to be sharp. This has to be very smooth and round. If we choose to bevel this edge right here, this does become sharper, but we also get this very weird twisting, and there's no way that's going to work. You might think that adding mean creases in the item menu up here is going to help you, and again, it's going to make these edges sharp because they're smooth continuous edge loops. But if we try to crease these edges at the corners here, once again we get some very weird twisting, and this is not going to work. So we're going to start with this very smooth shape, and here's the right way to do this. First of all, we're going to select all these continuous edge loops over here, and with N we're going to open this menu and set the mean crease value to 1 so that they become sharp while they're still under the influence of the subdivision surface modifier. Now to make these corners sharp, we're going to need some more geometry to work with, and you have to be very careful with what we're about to do, because when we add more geometry we're going to mess up the rest of this object, and it's going to be very difficult to continue working with this mesh. So you should only try doing this once your object is complete and you know that you're no longer going to make any major changes to the shape of this object afterwards. Let me give you an example. If you want to get up here and you want to add some more features to this object, you better do those now, because you're not going to be able to do this afterwards. If you're not sure whether you're going to want to do something else, you better just duplicate this object with Shift D and place it in the background somewhere so you have it saved as a backup. And then in case you want to go back, you can always just bring this object back and continue working from this checkpoint. So to get more geometry, which you're going to need to create this sharp edge over here on this slope, we're going to have to apply the subdivision surface modifier. So we're going to set the level's viewport value to 2, and now with this little arrow we're going to apply the subdivision surface modifier. Now we can manually remodel this geometry to turn this into a sharp slope, and here's how you can do that. Let's say we want the slope to begin somewhere around here and end somewhere around here. So this has to be a sharp corner, and this has to be a sharp corner, and then these three surfaces have to be completely flat, and they have to be separated by these edges which I have selected right here. To do that, I'm going to press Ctrl E to mark these edges as seams. Now I can remember where these edges are, and I know that these are the edges that have to be sharp. So now firstly I have to make this surface completely flat, and then I have to get down here and I have to make this surface flat as well. So I'm going to select a piece of geometry on this flat surface, such as this edge right here. With Shift S I'll snap my cursor to the selected geometry. Then in face select mode I'm going to select this face over here, and then with Ctrl Shift right click I'm going to select the diagonally opposite face on this surface, which is this face right here, and Blender is automatically going to select this entire surface. Now you have to set the pivot point to 3D cursor. So now when you press S to scale, Z to scale on the Z-axis, and 0 to scale this to 0 on the Z-axis, now this is going to become completely flat, so we can just hit enter, and we took care of this segment of the surface. We're gonna have to do the same thing down here. So place the 3D cursor on a vertex on a flat part back here. Now select this surface, S, Z, 0, enter, and now this surface is also flat. Now we still have to make this surface flat, but we can't just scale it to 0 because then it's no longer going to have this angle. So here's the right way to do this. We're going to go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and type in Loop Tools. Check this box right here, close the Preferences menu, and now we just have to straighten out these edges, and I'm going to show you how to do that. We first have to select all the edges that are parallel with the direction of this slope. There are two ways to do this. First, we can select the entire surface in face select mode, then in edge select mode with with Shift Alt right click we can deselect perpendicular edge loops. Or we can select one edge like this, then Control Shift right click on this edge to select the entire edge loop between those two edges. Then with Shift right click we can select the next edge, and with Control Shift right click we can again select another edge over here, and that way we can just select all the parallel edges like this. Either way, your selection should look like this. Now we're going to press W to access our loop tools, or for you W might not work, so you can press N, find the edit menu over here, and you're going to find the loop tools menu right here at the top of the screen, and then you're going to click on G stretch. Now by default this is going to completely straighten out these edges, and as you can see this is not the result that we want because we no longer have this curve here. But apart from the fact that we no longer have this curve, it looks like we're almost there because this surface did become completely flat. So to fix this, all you have to do is switch from spread evenly to spread, and down here you're going to check X and Y, but not Z. Now we retain this shape perfectly, and this is exactly the result that we're trying to get here. Check out how this object looks in object mode, and you can see that this is pretty much exactly what we were trying to accomplish from the get-go. Now you can go back to adding your subdivision surface modifier. We're going to select everything with A, and in the item menu up here in edit mode, we're going to set the mean crease back to 0. Now once we're ready, now we can bevel these edges over here on the sides. So select those, and with Control B we're going to bevel them. We need to have a shape value of 1 and 2 segments here. And now if you want to make these corners even sharper, you can take these edge segments over here on the corners which are still marked as seams, and also the edges which cut through the bevel which we just created. Now with Control B you can bevel those. Then you just have to slide this all the way to the end like this, M to merge by distance, and you're going to have a much sharper edge here. However, I recommend that before you do this, you clean up the rest of the geometry on this object, and here's how you can do that. We're going to undo all the bevels which we just created, then select this face in face select mode, and Control Shift right click to select this face. Now we selected this entire surface up here. Then with Shift right click select this face, and Control Shift right click to select another face at the bottom over here. Now let's go back to edge select mode, and with Shift Alt right click we're going to deselect all the horizontal edge loops like this. Now go to loop tools in this edit menu over here, hit space, and now these are going to be a lot more balanced, and this is going to give us cleaner topology overall. Now finally you can start adding bevels in whatever way you like. Also bevel this, slide this all the way up, slide this all the way down. Also get rid of these vertices like this, M to merge by distance, and now you got a perfect shape and your geometry stays very clean. And I know that this is good because Thomas Collin 3D approved of this, and since Thomas Collin 3D is the king of topology, if he gives us a thumbs up then you know you're doing something right. If you like the techniques that I showed you in this video, then check out my Blender ebook because everything that I know about modeling in Blender is in there. And you're going to learn a lot about tools that you probably never even heard of before in Blender. So go check that out, the link is below. And also make sure to join my Discord if you want to be part of a community with other 3D artists. We got almost 4,000 people, so you can always get some help in there. If you haven't already done so, then answer the survey below and sign up with your email because soon I'm going to give you an offer that you can't refuse. For the 1,500 of you that already signed up, here's what this is about. If you have been following me for a while and you're a part of all my communities, then you understand very well that there are lots of people around here who very quickly went from being a complete beginner to being so good at 3D design that they can make money with this as a professional. And they did this just by being around the right people and having access to systems which they can use to monetize their skills properly. So we're soon going to give you access to a complete step-by-step course where even if you're a complete beginner, you will learn the skills and systems that you need to implement your digital skills to where you can not only make money as a 3D artist, but by using any other digital skills that you have. And you can make a bunch of money and buy your freedom so you can be anywhere in the world at any time and nobody can tell you what to do. So unless you just want to keep fucking around and use Blender to waste your time, and if you're serious about this shit and you really want to do something with your life and use your skills not only to make your life better, but to be able to help other people and take care of your family, then put your fucking email below and stop wasting everybody's time. But if you just want to learn Blender casually and have fun, then at least subscribe to the damn channel and you can watch some tutorials for free and don't worry about it. But let me know what you guys want to see next, and I'll see you in the next one.